Hello, hello. Welcome to another conversation lesson. We're going to jump right into it today. Let me just open our Ingu website where we get our articles from. As I always mention, you can come here by yourself and read more articles and have a discussion with your friends. Ingu.com. Let's see, what shall we do today? Italy. I love Italy. All right, let's have a look at Italy. So, article here, let me just make this bigger. Tourists can get fined for breaking these rules in Italy. You don't want to break rules in another country. Well, let's see. First, we'll start with our vocabulary. As I always mention, I'm going to read through it. I'd like you to hit pause after each word, read it as well out, read it out loud. Make sure you get the pronunciation down. If you're not sure about the definition that they give you, you can just type in Google, for example, indulge, meaning, and they'll give you all the different meanings in different contexts. Because sometimes a word can have different, we use it in different ways depending on the context of the sentence. Okay, so let's see. First one, indulge, to allow oneself to enjoy something. After we're done exploring the city center, we had just enough time to indulge in some shopping. The next one, follow, to act according to a law, policy, suggestion, etc. These instructions are complicated and hard to follow. Fine, money that must be paid for breaking a rule or law. The officer gave me an $80 fine for running a red light. Next one, mayor, the head of the government of a town, city, etc. Sadiq Khan became the mayor of London in May 2016. Next one, historic, considered important or famous in history or likely to be considered important in the future. I'm not even sure about this one. The Parthenon. Parthenon is one of the most important historic sites in Athens. That's a Greek name, so I'm not sure about that. Next one, fountain, a structure in a pool or lake from which streams of water flow or are sent into the air. The fountains of the Bellagio Hotel are a must-see attraction in Las Vegas. Okay. So let's go to our article. Again, I'm going to read the whole article. I'd like you to hit pause after each little paragraph. Read it out loud. Make sure you got the pronunciation down. If you're not sure, you can just skip back a little bit, listen again, and go through the whole thing. All right. Tourists can get fined for breaking these rules in Italy. From delicious food to beautiful beaches, Italy is a place where tourists can indulge in la dolce vita, which is Italian for the sweet life. However, many tourists may not know that this sunny holiday spot comes with some surprising rules that, if not followed, could cost you more than a few gelatos. If you're planning a trip to Italy, you may want to know about these rules to make sure you don't leave with a fine. All right. Sorrento Bikini, no shirt ban. The Italian seaside town of Sorrento is popular with photographers and social media lovers for its colorful houses built close to the beach. However, tourists should know that because of new rules created by Mayor Massimo Coppola in 2022, walking around town in a bikini or without a shirt could get you a fine of up to about $520. Sitting on the Spanish steps in Rome. Italy's historic capital is busy with tourists taking photos everywhere, including at the Spanish steps at the Piazza de Spagna, built in the 1720s. However, if you're found sitting on these steps, you might be given a fine of around $420. Even if you don't get a fine, tourists sitting on the steps are likely to be moved by police officers who are often in the area. Okay. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Next one. Standing in the Trevi Fountain. Another popular spot in Rome is the Trevi Fountain. The fountain, completed in 1762, is famous for the story that those who throw a coin into it will one day return to Rome. But visitors must not sit on the fountain or stand in its waters unless they want a fine of about $470. These rules are true at all of the city's historic fountains, so tourists should be careful where they sit. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Keep on a sneeze now. So let's have a look here. We've got 3 questions again related to the article that we just read. I'm going to read the question. I'd like you to answer it to yourself. Then I'll try and answer them afterwards, and we can go back and look. I'm not usually good with these. I always get 1 or 2 wrong. So, number 1, when did the town of Sorrento ban walking around in a bikini or without a shirt? You remember the date? I'm terrible with numbers. Number 2, what's the fine for sitting on the Spanish steps in Rome? Oh, it's another number. What story is the Trevi Fountain known for? All right, so number 1, when did the town ban walking around in bikini or without a shirt? It was 20, I want to say 2020. No, 2020? 2022? Was it this year? 2022. I'm going to say 2022. All right. What's the fine for sitting on the Spanish steps in Rome? It's a number 400. I'm going to say $460. Might be 410, 460. What's the story of Trevi Fountain known for? If you throw a coin in it, you can come back to Rome. Yeah, that's not a number. All right, well, let's see. When did Sorrento ban no shirts? 2022. That's it. Haha. Was lucky I didn't say 2020. Sitting on the Spanish steps. Oh, I always get one wrong. 420. I said 410 or 460. Man. Yeah, 420. Trevi Fountain, if you throw a coin in it, then one day you can return to Rome. Okay. Man, I always get one wrong. Well, let's go on to our discussion questions. Again, I'm going to read the question and then I'll answer it the way that I would. You can either hit pause before I answer it or after, and you can say and listen if I say something similar, or you can listen to me first and say if you agree with something or disagree or add on to something that I said, whatever you like. All right, so what are your thoughts on the rules mentioned in the article? It seems reasonable. I wouldn't have any problems. It's not like, oh, although no, the Spanish steps, sitting on the Spanish steps, because I went to Italy in 2005, and I could have sworn there were people sitting on the Spanish steps, and we sat there and we took pictures there. That one seems a little bit odd. Maybe there's too many people. I don't know. I haven't been there for many, many years. So if there's too many people, I can kind of understand it as well. But all the others, maybe if you're at the beach, a lot of people don't want to wear a shirt. So I wouldn't say anything too unreasonable, but I'm sure they have reasons for it. Number 2, have you been to Italy? If so, where did you visit? If not, would you like to? Yes, I've been to Italy twice. I was there in 1999. Well, that time I went for cycling. I used to be a professional cyclist when I was younger. Although in 99, I was only 18 years old. I went for the World Championships in Italy that year. And I was a junior rider. It was an amazing experience for the cycling. I didn't get to see much of Italy back then. We were only in Verona and Treviso. But I really enjoyed it. The second time was in 2005. And then I went also, we stayed in, was it Treviso or Verona? I don't remember. It's close to Venice. So we went to Venice and then we went to Rome. That was a very nice experience too. There I got to go as a tourist and just look at the sights and take pictures and try all the nice and delicious food. Great place. I'll definitely go again if I get the opportunity to. I love Italy. if you ever go, obviously pizza, obviously, but also I'm not sure. I think a lot of people also know about gelato. The ice cream is amazing. And then for me, the hot chocolate, that's something that I didn't know of before I went. And when I got there, it was amazing. You know, if you get hot chocolate, you ask them, is it al dente or dente? Something like thick, because they sometimes it's not thick, but when they make it thick, it's like a pudding almost. It's like a hot, like a chocolate sauce. It's so good. I love it. Yeah. All right. Next one. Have you ever gotten in trouble while traveling? Do you know anyone who has? When traveling, I don't think so. I've traveled quite a lot. Let me just think quickly. I don't think I've ever gotten in trouble. No. No, no, no. Um, when I was in Italy, somebody did steal our camera. But again, that wasn't us getting in trouble, but we were a victim. So yeah, not a pickpocket. It was actually quite amazing how they did it because we were a group of 4 people, and my friend was taking pictures, and we were all standing there together, looking at over some kind of like a courtyard, and he put his camera because we were standing. There was like a wall, and he put his camera on the wall. He bent down to pick something out of his camera, and when he came back up, the camera was gone. And all of us were standing there. We were looking around, and it just like that. You didn't even see anything or no. They were so brave to do that in front of us. Yeah, terrible, but also pretty impressive that they could manage that. All right. Number 4, are there any attractions in your country that ask visitors to follow strict rules? Um, yeah, in Thailand. In Thailand, yeah, they have, if you go to a lot of the temples, they ask you to cover up, especially not especially ladies, but ladies should cover their shoulders and, wear appropriate clothing if you go into temples. And they have all sorts of strange rules, like you shouldn't step on money because the king's face is on money, and if you step on the money, it's kind of because your feet are also seen as very dirty, so it's kind of like showing disrespect to the king. Um, there's rules about that. And then in South Africa, not really as well. I suppose, I mean, if you go to the Kruger National Park or any wildlife park, they tell you to stay in your car, and you better follow that because otherwise you'll get eaten by wild animals. So that's a rule that you have to follow for your own safety. Yeah. Number 5, are there any parts of your country where tourists often cause problems? Again, I always talk about Thailand and South Africa because I live in Thailand, basically my home now, but I'm from South Africa. So Thailand, yes, tourists like to cause problems here, especially drunk tourists that comes to party and, comes for all sorts of dirty reasons. So if you go to some clubs in the evenings, there's drunk tourists making a nuisance of themselves a lot. Um, and you find that, yeah, in Phuket, in Pattaya, in Bangkok, even in Chiang Mai, find that everywhere. There's a lot of seedy tourists here. And South Africa, no, not really, no. Okay, further discussion. Number 1, what tips would you give someone visiting your country for the first time? Um, okay, again, Thailand, just be respectful of the religious, the temples, be respectful there. Um, Something that I didn't know before is, again, they consider the feet to be dirty. So don't point with things with your feet. If your hands are full and you asking somebody, can you just give me that, and pointing with your feet, that's very bad. Don't sit with your feet on a table pointing towards somebody, or just don't do that at all. So, don't be careful where you point your feet and how you, do that. Be careful what you say about the king and the royal family. Um, yeah, and then just be respectful and polite as you would be in any country. For South Africa, South Africa is quite a dangerous place, so I would say don't flash valuables, don't wear gold chains and things that people can just grab off of you. Don't my when we went there the first time we went to South Africa, we drew money at the ATM, and we drew quite a lot of money because it costs a lot of money to withdraw money abroad, and we didn't want to do it all the time. So we withdrew a large amount of cash, and my wife was sitting in the car, and she was, like taking a picture with all the money. And it was like, no, you crazy. You don't, even if you're in your car, people watch the ATM, so they'll see like, oh, this person is taking a stack of cash out of the ATM, and they'll follow, So be careful when you withdrawing money. Rather use a card to swipe, or nowadays it's easier with the scan payments and, online payments. So it might be easier to avoid that kind of thing. But don't flash valuables. Be careful which areas you go to. Some areas are very dangerous. But if you're in tourist areas, you should be okay. Yeah, but just be careful. Number two, have you ever had a local show you around a town or city while traveling? I have, yes. Yeah, oh, okay, obviously, yeah. When I went to Italy, my one friend sister was dating an Italian. He was actually a police officer. So they stole from a police officer those pickpockets, because it was his camera that they stole. But yeah, he was a police officer, and he showed us around everywhere, talking to the people, explaining things for us. So yeah, it's quite nice. And yeah, in Thailand, my wife is from Thailand, so a lot of times when we went places, she showed me around. She was the one that showed me around Chiang Mai when I arrived there, so she helped me a lot with that too. It's always good to get a local to help you. They know all the inside scoops. Number three, what cities or countries would you like to visit to learn more about their history? I always said I want to go to Egypt for history. If it's about history, I want to go to Egypt. I think they have a very interesting, and Israel. I want to go to Israel because uh, I'm a Christian, so there's a lot of religious history there. I know they've got problems with Israel and Palestine, but that area, the area where Jesus walked around, I'd like to go visit those places and see what's, all the historical things about that. Any other places? Then also maybe South America. Uh, they also have interesting, the what do they call those? Like almost like a pyramid, but in South America. Uh, slipped my mind now. What? Anyway, like they've got pyramids in South America as well. I'd like to visit that too. Number four, what are the most visited historical sites in your country? Ooh. So in Thailand, I don't know. I'm not that into all the history. Maybe some of the there's probably some temple. There is some temples in, is it Nakhon Sawan? I actually went there. Again, just if you go from Bangkok to Chiang Mai, I think Nakhon Sawan, if I'm not mistaken, Nakhon Sawan, it's a World Heritage Site actually, some temple ruins, very interesting. And in Chiang Mai, they also have a lot of very old temples over there, so quite quite nice and interesting to visit. South Africa, historical sites. Man, I maybe the Voortrekker Monument It's a site that they built when the Boer won some war. They made a promise with God that they'll remember this day, and they built this big monument. And there's a hole. So on that specific day every year, the light from the sun goes over this promise. They engraved this thing in a rock. So that's also quite nice. And every year on this day, a lot of people go there. And maybe Robben Island, where Mandela was in prison. That's also, it's not like ancient history, but we don't have that long history. But that's probably some kind of historical importance. Yeah, just off the top of my head, I would say those two. All right. Number 5, are there any historical sites in your country that you're yet to visit? Yes, both of those places. Um, I've I've passed the Voortrekker Monument many, many times because I used to live in Pretoria as well. It's in Pretoria, and I used to train when I was cycling. I was riding in that area a lot, so I saw it many, many times, but I've never actually been in and, you know, been inside. And then I've never been to Robben Island. I don't really go to historical sites, especially not in my country. I don't, yeah, I'm not too into history of my own country. I should maybe be because we've also done some interesting things, I suppose. All right, well, that is it, guys. That's everything. Let me just stop this. And yeah, again, if there's any questions, if there's anything you want to add or share or disagree with or agree with, type it in the comments and let's have a discussion. And till next time, keep practicing English. See you guys. Bye bye.